Hello friends, thank you so much for supporting me, but this time I want something from your side. I need your help to increase my subscriber. Please like my video, subscribe it and share to others. So friends, this time actually I have recommended by someone to create video in English separately and Hindi separately. So I have decided to make both the videos separate language. So this video is basically for English. So last week we have started with our principles. So this time we will review our principle again, and what is new for this time I will share with you. Okay, so friends, last week we have discussed about everyday learning. So we know that we already discussed that everybody should learn every day something new. Then he feel his day is completed. And second principle we have read about respect every individual. So we need to respect our seniors, our junior, our friends, our family, whosoever is there, we need to respect that. And third one I introduced, this is the lead with humility. This is a very great word and very important word, and I always used to make my life easy by this principle. So before describing this one, I just want to say that if you combine all three, like everyday learning, respect every individual, lead with humility, it will make a perfect culture in the organization. Okay, so friends, everybody knows that culture is very important. If you want to work in a company where culture is there, you will be graceful from the God, and you will be very happy like to work there. But unfortunately, if you compare with a company who don't have the great culture, you will not sustain a long time. So now I start with our lead with humility. In lead with humility, basically principle meant for leaders, meant for managers, meant for management. In this I can take one example to describe this, because this is not so easy. Suppose I'm a department head. So if you're talking about the normal practice, so department head used to say that my department don't have any problem, I don't have any problem, my team don't have the problem. But reality is different. So what lead with humility will do? Lead with humility, if any management he have the confidence to say, yes, I am not perfect, nobody in the world is perfect, I can learn, I can improve. He need to open up, he need to open the departments. Then lead with humility will come. And second thing, the leader should listen their colleagues. In many company, people's, or you if you are talking about the management, they are not listening to their colleague, they are not listening to their team. This is a big problem. If they are starting listening to their team, it will create lead with humility, and result will be the different level. So friends, my request is like you can apply these three principles, and I am sure any single person, if he started, culture can be improved. I am not saying it will be changed completely, but if one person started any of this, after some time, definitely culture will improve. Okay friends, so today I am going to discuss about the difference of non-destructive testing and destructive testing. So some people commented me in my previous video that I have make a video for non-destructive testing. So before that I decided to make a table in which I can distinguish between non-destructive testing and destructive testing. So it will be easy, in the coming lecture you can easily understand the non-destructive testing. Okay, so I will start with the non-destructive testing first. So in non-destructive testing, basically the use of non-invasive technique in which to determine the integrity of the component or structure. So it means we are not going to break any of the component. We are not going to break anything, and we check it and we find the integrity of the component. But in contrast, if you are talking about the destructive testing, you have to break the component. You have to break the test coupon of the component, and then you can get the result, then you can get the performance result, then you can get the behavior of the material. Okay, so after this, I'm starting some key points of non-destructive testing and some key points of the destructive testing. So my first key point is inspect or measure without doing any harm. So in non-destructive testing, we are not destroying anything, we are just checking, we can find the integrity. That is the first key point. In contrast of this point, inspect or measure without doing harm. So in destructive testing, we have to test component or test coupon with doing harm. If you remember, if you see in your college or somewhere that you have the tensile machine, you have the impact UTM machine. So test coupon is broken by that, and you can get the result. So that is all destructive method actually. So my next point is this actually conduct on the actual body. So if you take the example where you perform welding on the component, so welding, after welding you can do radiography testing, you can perform ultrasonic testing to find out the integrity of the component. In the same way, if you have the final body is casting, you can perform ultrasonic testing, you can perform radiography testing, you can do anything. So basically in non-destructive testing, you can perform testing anytime, anywhere. Either your component will be installed in any factory or anywhere. You can do anytime. In service also you can perform it. But if you are talking about the destructive testing, destructive testing always conduct on the test coupon, not on the actual body. But I am telling you some cases where in actual body you can also perform destructive testing, that is the hardness testing. If you have the portable hardness tester, you can perform testing on the actual body to find out the value, but not all destructive testing. Okay, so next point, non-destructive testing is qualitative testing. However, the destructive testing is quantitative test. In quantitative test, it has some value. Like if I am talking about example like one material have certain tensile value, and when we test it and we observe such and such value which is exactly match or higher than that, we can accept that. But in non-destructive testing, what happened? We have to assess, we have to see whether it is in the range or not. So this is the main difference actually. This is the qualitative, this is the quantitative. So I am moving forward. The next point, the interpretation of ND is quite difficult. It is not so easy to understand. You can take any example like sizes of the discontinuity, location of the discontinuity. The person need to identify or take care everything in their mind. But if you are talking about the destructive testing, so interpretation is quite easy, because it is I already tell you that this is a quantitative. You can see the value, you can analyze the result. Okay, I am moving forward. Next point, that is the skilled person required for non-destructive examination. So in non-destructive testing, very skilled person is required, because he have the knowledge of material, he have the knowledge of technique, he have the knowledge of discontinuity, defect, everything. Then he can do that. In contrast of that, I am not saying that not a skilled person required for destructive testing, but if you are doing the comparison, you can do that. Okay. In some method involve environment hazards in non-destructive testing. If you know about the radiography testing, it's a high electromagnetic wave. It's a radiation involved in this. So it's a environment hazard is involved in non-destructive testing. But if you're talking about the destructive testing one, so environment hazard is not there. Testing happens in the lab, testing happens on the test coupon in a fixed location, sometimes on the actual position, but not always. So it's not hazardous actually. If you're talking about the equipment, so in non-destructive testing, equipment are costly. You can see the setup of radiography, you can see the setup of ultrasonic testing, magnetic particle, it's a costly affair. If you are talking about the cost of destructive testing, cost is slightly less, because in destructive testing we have the UTM, we have the tensile strength machine, hardness machine, all are fixed, one-time investment. You can make the lab and you can do that. So this is not very much costly, and in these type of machine, movement is also there. Machine goes from one location to another location, one place to another place. But if you are talking about the destructive testing machine, that is fixed in one location. So maintenance is also very high in this and very low in this. So our next point is the portability. I mentioned also that equipment are portable. We can move from one location to another location. But in this, equipments are not portable. Okay friends, so now I am discussing about some uses of NDE method. What are the main uses of NDE method and what are the main uses of destructive testing? So in uses of NDE method, flaw detection and evaluation, you can identify the flaw, like what kind of flaw is there. It is rounded, linear, volumetric, planar, what kind of indication is there, what kind of imperfection is there, you can find it out. And you can also find it out the value, like how big, how much, you can find in this. You can also perform leak detection. So somebody told me some time back that hydro testing or leak testing comes under NDE or DT. So it's a debatable, but I can say it's a non-destructive. You can perform leak testing in non-destructive testing examination. So friends, defect location and determination. You can also identify the defect location also. If you can take the example of ultrasonic testing. You can identify in how many depth discontinuity is there. The next point, dimensional measurement. So many of my friends knows about the digital meter, D meter, what we can say. It's an ultrasonic base. In D meter you can identify the thickness without doing any physical thing over there. It's a total ultrasonic base thickness gauge and we can identify. Next point is material sorting and chemical composition check. So everybody knows that positive material identification has the capability to sort it out the material, to segregate the material, to check the chemical composition of the material. So friends, some uses of destructive testing in destructive test method. So first point is material characterization. We can identify the strength, we can identify the toughness property, we can identify the hardness value. That is all covered in material characterization. Second point is the fabrication validation. If we are performing welding on an actual component, we have to perform we have to have the approved WPS PQR, or we can perform testing on the actual component, on the actual test coupon rather. In the test coupon, we have to cut the test piece for tensile testing, we have to cut the test piece for bend testing, we have to cut the test coupon for impact testing. And whatever result is there, we can say that this weld have such and such property. Okay, so last point is related with failure investigation. So normally we are using destructive testing for identify the failure determination. Sometimes you heard that some train having some accident. So what engineer will do? Engineer will take the test coupon from that and they test it. and they evaluate like what is the main reason, and they can say that in the final this is the reason and we need to improve this. Okay friends, so now the last point is related with the key method for NDE. So it is the ultrasonic testing, radiography testing, RT, magnetic particle testing MPI, dye penetrant testing PT, visual testing VT, eddy current testing ET, lead testing LT, acoustic emission AT, and many more. So if you are talking about the key method for destructive testing, so it is related with the tensile testing, bend testing, hardness test, and impact test. So friends, I hope you enjoy this lecture, and I request you again, please subscribe, share, and like my video. Thank you so much.